You are listening to the Loida Lewis podcast, hosted by Loida Nicolas Lewis. She's a trailblazing businesswoman, leader, philanthropist, and the widow of Reginald F. Lewis, the visionary leader who was the first African American to build a billion-dollar company. With unparalleled determination, Loida Lewis has not only excelled as a successful attorney, but also shaped a billion-dollar empire. Following the untimely passing of her husband, Reginald F. Lewis, she took the helm of TLC Beatrice, carving her legacy as a successful business leader. Be inspired and learn from her as she shares her wisdom, the secrets to her success in both business, in love, and in life. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn. With your host, Miss Loida Lewis.
Welcome to the Loida Lewis podcast. Live, love, laugh, and learn with me. This is the third episode of a three-part series on how to create wealth. The first one was Reginald Lewis Handbook on how to create wealth. The second one was with my older daughter, Leslie Lewis, on how to invest in the stock market for multi-generational wealth. And that's multigenerationalwealth.black on your device. And the third one is today with my younger daughter, Christina Lewis, on how to manage wealth. My younger daughter, Christina Loida Nicolas Lewis Halpern. She's Mrs. Halpern for the past 13 years. And welcome, anak. Anak
Thank you,
means child in Filipino. Thank you for taking this time, anakin. And she's a little introduction. Christina Lewis is my younger daughter, as I have said. She graduated cum laude from Harvard. She went to Wall Street Journal as a reporter. And then when it was acquired by you-know-who, she quit and wrote a book, Lonely at the Top. And then she started a not-for-profit to train black and brown boys, young men of color, how to code, called All-Star Code. And now it's graduated more than 1,000 boys who have graduated from college, and some of them are working with six figures in Google, in Facebook, and many other technical companies. And so now I want to ask her, thank you, Christina, for being here. Tell me, what are you doing now?
Thanks, Mom. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so proud of you for doing Live, Love, Laugh, Learn. I've been doing that for all my life, so happy to do it now for your big audience. Yes, I started off my career as a journalist, but then for the past 10 years or so have been really an active philanthropist, focused on taking what I was given, what I inherited, and working to make the world a better place, helping others. And that's something that you really taught me. I think that there's no purpose to wealth if you don't use it to help others, as well as, of course, enjoying life, living, loving, laughing, learning. So in the past few years, I started another nonprofit called Giving Gap. It's the country's largest national comprehensive database of nonprofits that were founded by Black people. There are a lot of people out there looking for new charities to support and are interested in making a difference in the lives of Black people in this country, but don't know where to find organizations that are started and led by Black people, part of that community. So we're solving that need, and our database is searchable by category, by geography, and by word, so anyone can come and find causes that they care about, whether it's climate or education or animals or gender rights. It's all there.
As long as it's founded by?
A Black person,
Okay.
yes.
That's great, Christina. Now more than 1,000. How did you come up with that idea?
I came up with it in 2020 during that summer of activism, and to meet a need. Again, I saw people online looking for charities to support that were focused on helping Black people in lots of different ways, and tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars was flowing through the space. And I saw, though, that the money was disproportionately going to certain charities deeply connected to George Floyd and that location, whereas there's a universe of Black-founded nonprofits across every category. So I wanted to do something to help increase and sustain that pool of money flowing into helping increase racial equity in this country.
Do you have a statistic? How much money does the United States give to philanthropy, and how much of it goes to Black organizations?
Yes. $450 million is given away every year in the U.S.
$450 million.
And
Wow.
The data is not great, but sort of estimates show maybe 2% are going to organizations founded and or led by Black people.
Okay.
So it's a really small share. Black people are 15% of the population, are disproportionately challenged. So for people looking to make a difference in the world, it really makes sense to find Black-founded, Black-led charities that align with their passions, of course, that meet their desires, but to go and support as part of their charitable giving.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
How did you get this habit or value of giving back?
How the value of giving back, I think, comes from privilege. It's a privilege to be able to give to others. And giving to others is a privilege because there's so much learning and so much support. Since I started really devoting myself to helping others, it's made me a better person. And I've fostered deep connections and relationships. So talk about live, love, laugh, learn. Through helping others, I've really found that. I help others, that it's helped me. It's helped me, made me wealthier in time and in relationships, in knowledge, in capabilities, which really is the most important part of life, to be wealthy in relationships, in knowledge, in community, in laughter. And when you're there, really, whatever the amount of money you have, I feel can ideally feel like enough. When you talk about creating wealth, which I know is the part of this series, I think that's something that I've learned in my own life. Of course, having inherited wealth from Dad and you, but then seeing that just money really isn't enough. It's about what your money can do for you and what your money can do for the world.
That's wonderful. You say it's a life of privilege. So tell a little bit to the audience. What does it feel growing up as the daughter of Reginald Lewis?
Well, Reginald and Loida Lewis?
Well, and Loida,
Being
yes.
the daughter of Reginald and Loida Lewis. Well, I mean, high standards. Pretty high standards. I remember you making me stand against a wall and walk forward to fix my posture, right? I remember a lot of generosity. Christmas was such a great holiday, and you and Dad just really believed you were a team all out Christmas. So, yeah, the gifts, they were extravagant, right? But I think but then really high standards. I mean, we had dinner every night at home, which is a privilege. You know, so many families can't do that around the dinner table. And man, that dinner would last over an hour. Over an hour, I'd need to sit there and, I'd say, may I please be excused like you taught me? No. Multiple courses, quizzes.
Tell the audience, what quizzes do we have during while dinner? And you were how old at that time?
I mean, as long as I can remember. Dad did this math, history, or literature trivia game where you got to pick. But my favorite was math, and it had a particular question that used a little bit of mild algebra and fractions. But it was that question which, I looked forward to because I was such a little like. What's the word? Gunner. You give me a question, give me a ladder, and I just ran to climb up it. And all the activities that you had me do, from skiing and the piano and the violin for a very short period of time, but then there was also a lot of change. We moved to Paris when I was 8 from New York, and that was really, really turbulent. And Dad started spending half of every month away. And you were really busy with even though you'd stopped working, really busy with running the household, and you had all these different commitments. So I really spent a lot of time with the staff that had been hired, and we never had so many people working for us. So I had my babysitter, and she was the one who was taking me places, to the American Library in Paris. There was a chef who taught me many recipes that I still know now. And that was, I think that gave me the perspective that it's one thing to have money again, but it's how you spend it. And how you raise your children and what your life is like. That is really the key to wealth, not just being rich.
That's wonderful. And you said about piano. Can you just tell something to the audience that you played at the Little Carnegie Hall?
Yes, Mom. Well, I started playing the piano, I think at 6, and by the end, I'd developed a love of classical music and learned, I think, over an hour's worth of pieces. And the music teacher had me did a concert, a solo concert, at Little Carnegie, which was filled with friends and family. And I really loved, Chopin nocturnes and Schubert impromptus and Mozart sonatas. And so it was at Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, I'm sorry, no, not Bohemian Rhapsody. Not Rhapsody in Blue. Oh, I'm forgetting the name. Oh, yes. The Boogie Woogie Etude. That was it. The Boogie Woogie Etude. Yes. I know you were very proud of that.
Yes. And how were you? How did you prepare for that?
Oh, well, I practiced 2 hours a day.
Yes. And after that, you received a lot of applause.
Yes.
Did you ever think of going to the concert route, meaning you're a pianist going from...
I mean, no, I hit the, I hit the ceiling of what I could do. I knew people who went to Juilliard. I went to Interlochen, the music camp, and you just get a sense when you're outmatched. But I really enjoyed it. That 2 hours a day, that was really, I tried my hardest and made a lot of progress. And but in college, I saw that what I could do, other people could do a lot more, and I just didn't enjoy it enough to make it my life. So
yes, so it's very important that what you do, you should enjoy, don't you think?
Definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
You should, and I think it's important though to learn to do a job well, and sometimes it can be hard to enjoy things if you haven't done it a little bit and learned it and gotten good at it. So I think if you're looking to have a successful life, it is important to learn to do things that you don't want to do, that you don't feel like doing. But certainly once you've learned some things, developed some competencies, and it takes a long time, even through college, but into your career, then I think it is important with that knowledge to then find something that you do enjoy doing.
Terrific. That's terrific. Terrific lesson. Something that you enjoy doing.
Yes. But be good at your job.
Be good at your job.
Be good at your job.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's first. And you enjoy doing it. I think there are things that you may enjoy. You have to really ask yourself, am I good at this? Am I good at this? Am I doing a good job? Are other people validating this? Will someone pay me to do this? And we talk about building wealth. I think if you haven't gotten good enough at something that someone's willing to pay you to do it, right, really consistently, then that's not going to lead to concrete wealth, right, to money. And it's not going to ultimately lead to a satisfying life. Because it's an engaging with others, engaging with the world, meeting a need that the world has, that you really discover your purpose.
Wonderful. Yes, it's very important to discover one's purpose.
Yes.
Yes. So tell us, what do you do now?
Thanks. So I am still involved philanthropically, but now I've developed a commercial venture that is in financial services, in providing financial services to people. It's not public yet, so I can't talk too much about it. But it is about providing to others really high quality financial advice that meets the needs of a new generation of wealthy people. I think having a Black father, having an Asian mother, being a woman who was able to be, through the work of my parents, independently wealthy, has given me this perspective on the modern era, on how people want to use their money today.
Great. So it's called wealth management, isn't it?
Well, that's the type of business that we'll be in. It's technically a family office.
Why is it important for those who make a lot of money? Why is it important to get somebody else to manage their money? Can they not do it themselves?
You can do it yourself, certainly, especially I think that can make sense for people who are professional investors. So they actually have training in managing money. Then if that's your livelihood, then certainly it can make sense to manage your own money. However, if you are thinking about your family's needs, this money is not just for you, assuming that you have enough to pass on to your children. So if the money's not just for you, it's for your spouse, or partner, your children, and sometimes even extended family. People are helping their relatives, their parents, and otherwise, if they've really been successful, then you may not be always the best person to be making all of the decisions. And in particular, in our case, Dad died when he was 50. And truly, while most people live long, happy, healthy lives, we all know that we don't know what life and God has in store for us. So I think from my experience, even if you're a financial professional managing your own money, if you don't have a professional financial firm, at least alongside you in some way, you're leaving your family open to a lot of risk. Just imagine if something happened and you're the only person really involved and capable of managing things. It really opens up your family to potential issues. So I am a strong believer in having professional financial advice on your team for everyone, even if you're managing the bulk of the money, managing the bulk of your money themselves, but having a relationship with a professional financial firm.
Yes, I'm thinking of someone who's been working a lot, families in the business, and then they sell it and have millions, 100 millions. Mm-hmm. So those are the people that I thought may not have any experience of managing huge amount of money. They were able to do a successful business, but managing money is different from running a business like a factory or manufacturing.
Well, you know something about that, Mom. That happened to us, to you. Dad owned TLC Beatrice International, the food conglomerate. When he died, when he died, it was very sudden, and my uncle Gene Fugit ran the company for a bit, but then you took over. and sold it. It was 6 years later or so.
7. It took
and
7 years.
Took 7 years. Yes. So, Mom, why don't you answer that question? Tell us who did you rely on?
Okay, Mr.
To make
Lewis,
those
your
decisions.
father, your father has always said that, do what other rich people do. Your father made it easy for me because from the very start, he always had a bank behind him, developing a relationship with that bank. And so when he died, it was already all set for me. That's how far-reaching was his concept of managing wealth. Mm-hmm. And so thank you for letting me explain that. And so for those who are listening, whether you have big wealth or small wealth, whether you have a salary, just be very wise in managing your wealth.
Yes.
And what can you say to them?
Well, I want to ask you again, Mom, because yes, you do have a bank. We have a bank, we have outside money managers. But have you learned anything about? Does that mean you just were hands off and didn't make any investment decisions?
Thank you. Thank you. This is another interview by my daughter. No, I made decisions that were not good because I disobeyed what your father said. He always said in business, better to buy a company than start a company. And so I tried to start a company and they both went bankrupt. Company in China, company in the Philippines.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's entrepreneurship and doing business, but I mean just managing investments, assets. Do you feel like you really take a hands-off approach?
No, it's not so much a hands-off. So sometimes they come to me, like certain small investment companies that are minority owned. Mm-hmm. You also, Christina is a very good seeker of good businesses to invest in. And so you have introduced me to one or two. Mm-hmm. So for those who are listening and watching, it is very important to have a second, like an extra antenna for businesses if you are going to invest. But basically, I have managed my own small, tiny stock market.
I know.
Yes, a stock market. And when Christina was 8 or 9, she was my broker because at that time there was no internet connection, but there was a telephone where you can put IBM.
Yes, you had me being a stockbroker, or at least in theory, I was tracking those stocks every day on the portfolio.
Yes, and she would call me at work, Mom, IBM is down, buy.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's because I only got paid if you sold at something. It shows the power of incentives.
That's right, 10%.
I was trying to churn the portfolio.
When the stock is up, she would call me and say, Mom, it's up, sell. And then she gets 10% of my profit.
Yeah, it's true.
It's always good to give incentive.
True. So I guess that it's a bit do as I say, not do as I do, because we both do a lot of investing. And I think over the years, I have learned a lot and do a lot of direction to, not necessarily direction, but really oversight of our money managers. So at the same time, I think that I do believe in having professional financial advice. I also do believe it's important. You must learn about investing if you have your own money that you control, because it's really important. So it's ignorance. Well, is bliss, but that's not going to. If something happens to your money, you can blame your managers, but who hired them? Well, you did. So only you ultimately are accountable for your money, and it's incumbent to learn about investing. And I think we both really enjoy investing. Your stock portfolio is up, and you subscribe. Mom subscribes to investment. You actually subscribe to different investment tips, etc., following the markets.
Yes.
But
please tell the audience, what if you only have your salary? Every 2 months every 2 weeks you receive money, and you don't really have what you call wealth. So what do you tell them?
Well, I have to watch out because I am not an accredited financial advisor. I'm starting this business, funding it. I have a team of professionals who are qualified to give actual investment advice. But in my time of seeing, people, generally speaking, saving and investing your money is
How many
really
percent?
important.
What would you say is a good percentage of your salary?
I can't say. I think it depends. I think it depends on the individual, and I think that anyone can find a financial advisor if you have a bank account and and some money. And you've actually suggested that to people, and they've done it. You can just walk into your branch and tell them that you'd like some advice about how to save and invest your money, and they will talk to you, right there. So I think that's important too. I don't want to give advice here on the air because it really does. You really should have just more of a picture and understand what people are spending and need to spend, how much they're making, what their plans are, how old they are. And that's why, again, I do believe in having a professional financial advisor. Again, even if it's one that is just part of your bank. Like, they will do that for people because they certainly want to see more money in your bank account.
So that's very good advice. Go to your bank, ask for the financial advisor, and then have a goal. And I'll base it on the Bible. The Bible says 10% you give away, and the other 10% is my advice. Save. So you only plan on 80% of your salary. That's how you pay rent, how to pay, save, meaning just put away 10%.
Yeah. Well, Mom, I have to say, I do think that it depends on age. I really do. And so if you're young and you're making a $200,000 salary and really have no commitments, no debt, no children, then it may make sense to save a lot more of your salary. And then let's say you're a married couple and you just had young children and you have to pay for childcare because they're not eligible for public school, which is free. Then it may make sense to for that period of time, spend all of your income because you can see a future where your costs are going to go down. So you have to pay for daycare, et cetera. So it's a lot of expense, but that in just 5 years, that will go away and you'll be able to start saving again.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I have to differ with my daughter on this one. Regardless of how much little you have, put away 10%. Okay. And how is that? Don't buy coffee, which is $5. Bring coffee. Bring something. In other words, learn thrift. And yes,
are you
Christina
thrifty,
is saying,
Mom? Are you thrifty?
Yes, I am. No, in other words, just look at your expenses, and out of that, put away something, and go to a financial advisor. On that one, I am with Christina. Go to your bank and find a financial advisor and say, in 5 years, this is what I want. I want my own home, or I want to have whatever. And then, so listen to your financial advisor, and that's where Christina is leading now for high net worth individual. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
Yes. And now talk about philanthropy. How did you, why do you believe in helping others or, being philanthropic?
Well, philanthropy and helping others does not necessarily mean charity. So I do consider my new business now the evolution of my philanthropy and of my mission, because we're going after groups of people, a new generation of wealth holders who I feel are underserved in the current landscape, and putting together a really just high quality service that is in a welcoming environment. I do believe we'll be able to reach people and help people preserve and grow their wealth more successfully than other money management firms that are solely focused on investment returns, because we'll take a more holistic approach, really able to look at people's needs and values and ensure that how their money is managed aligns with it.
Yes, I remember when I was talking to you, you were talking about investment in art. And also you talked about investment in small business, but quality. I mean, it's not only stock market or fixed income.
Yes. Yes. Well, there are a lot of different ways and things to do to invest, and it depends on how much you have in. It depends on how much you have in assets. For me and for us, I think taking Dad's approach, he invested in a lot of different things in art. He also gave a lot of money away, investing in the community, investing in political candidates. Obviously, conventionally, I can share, the bulk of my assets are invested in stocks and bonds, in the public markets, right? Which is what I recommend, what the vast majority of people can and should be doing. But yeah, there are a lot of alternative investments, hedge funds, private equity, bonds, credit, that again, I think an investment professional is best to talk about. That the key, if anyone wants to learn more about what I'm doing and what is coming up next, they can go to my website, ChristinaLewis.com, ChristianaLewis.com, and sign up for my newsletter. It is written by me. Comes out about every 2 months. I'll have a coming up pretty soon, where I'll share more about it.
All right. That's ChristinaLewis.com. All right. One final question before we end this. How do you manage it? You are a businesswoman. You are married. You have 3 children. How do you manage career and family?
Well, I think the important thing to managing everything, and people always tell me that I do a lot. What it is I have a lot of things going. I have clear priorities of what's most important. I bucket them in my list. I have some time management techniques, which is one bullet journal, which is a time management system, but it's really a mindfulness system that helps me look at what I'm doing and what its impact is and whether it's my priority. So if it's I look at that every day or every week and monitor my time and notice what's important and where the priorities are, what's needed, and then I make decisions based on that. If something is not a priority and I see that it's taking too much of my time, I will delegate certain responsibilities. I will pull back from it and even pull out of it. I was on 3 advisory boards for an institution, and they were great. They were prestigious, but it wasn't my current priority, and I just went off all of them. I said, sorry. I have some other boards that I'm on, but I've indicated they've asked me to join a committee, and I've said, I can't right now. So, but I stayed on. So similarly with every organization that I'm a part of, I think I have an ability to just monitor what my contribution is, where I'm needed, and then if I can't do it or don't want to do it, rather. I find someone else, figure out how to empower someone else to go and do it. And if it's something, say, that just I'm doing, I'll just stop doing it.
All right.
I'll deprioritize.
You heard that. First things first. Prioritize. When there are many things that are in conflict, what's most important?
And the kids are first.
Kids are first. And how about husband?
He's on there.
Kids and husband, family first. All right, family first. So remember, you may have all the wealth, but if your family is dysfunctional, what's it all for? Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. I mean, I think with my husband, who's my partner in everything, he's not on the list because he's really my partner. So he's doing his own thing. He's not something I need to manage. But yes, if his birthday is coming up, or different things, he does. He goes on the list at different times because I want to make sure I nurture that relationship, etc. And he sort of will fall under like personal self-care. So the family thing, because a healthy marriage is part of it, etc. But kids, I'm taking care of them, right? So it's like I need to buy them shoes, I need to do this, that, right? So my husband isn't on.
He's a partner.
He's not overthinking, but so the marriage stuff and everything would fall under my self-care.
All right. Again, very important. Husband and wife, partners, life partners, they are a team.
That's right.
They are a team. So
Absolutely.
that's part and parcel. Not 1, 2, 3, but they are a team. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good advice. All right. So you heard it here. The Loida Lewis podcast. This time, you live, love, learn, and laugh with Christina Lewis. And remember, it's ChristinaLewis.com. Check it out.
Thank you, Mom. This was really lovely. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Anakin.
The Loida Lewis Podcast, hosted by Loida Lewis, is produced by the creators of Over a Glass or Two, Jesse and JV. Executive produced by Loida Nicolas Lewis. Rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for a chance to be featured on a future episode. Have a question for Miss Loida? Just email us on askloidalewis@gmail.com. Your question might make its way to a future episode. Subscribe on all major platforms to never miss a beat. Thank you for listening to the Loida Lewis Podcast. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn together